Very good then, Mr. McGinnis. Welcome to my world.
You've just jumped inside the pull bag. Join TFG1Mike and the rest of the comic reading crew here at the GCRN as they make their great escape into comics. From DC, Marvel, IDW, Boom Studios, Zenoscope, and more, we have everything you want to read right here. Transformers comics? Yeah, we cover that. He-Man? Yeah, sure. DC superheroes like Batman, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Batman Beyond? Yep, we have those too. How about TMNT from IDW and I Hate Fairyland from Image Comics? Yeah, we have all that here. Plus, so much more. It's all inside the pull bag here on the Geekcast Radio Network. So without any further ado, it's time to talk about the comics we are reading right now here inside the pull bag.
Spoilers.
You've just jumped inside the pull bag here on the Geekcast Radio Network. This is episode 314. Yes, that's right. It's Pie Day. Batman loves pie, right? I'm, of course, TFG1Mike. Joining me is JT from Saskatoon. Hello, sir.
Hello. I mean, who doesn't love pie?
Exactly. We're here to talk about the next story arc in the Batman Beyond Rebirth series from DC Comics. This is the Long Payback Part 1. Now, you might be listening to this and say, Part 1? TFG1Mike, what are you talking about? Well, the Long Payback is a 6-issue arc. We're not sitting here for 6 hours recording 1 hour per issue, folks. We're just not doing that. So we're going to cover issues 14, 15, and 16, which are the first 3 parts of the Long Payback. And then next week in episode 315, we'll record the rest and release the rest. So that's why the art, folks, has episode 314 and 315 in the pullback logo area, because even though it's going to be 2 separate episodes, I was not wanting 2 separate arts because it's just one long storyline. So the Long Payback. I know it's been a while since we did episode 298 and 299 where we talked about those in-between issues and then the Rise of the Demon arc. How are you feeling with the Batman Beyond Rebirth series at this point?
I'm loving it.
Same here.
It's a little more coherent now that we've gotten back into that more comfortable, established tableau of like Bruce and Terry and now Matt and Dana versus like, the Tim Drake Batman Beyond stuff was great, but it just kind of felt disjointed.
I liked the Tim Drake's entire run because I thought it was something new, something different, and then it put the whole twist on, hey, Terry isn't actually dead. Well, one Terry was, because obviously he went back to the past and got killed thanks to Future's End, but like they found what Dan Jurgens has done since he's taken over and done this whole Rebirth thing is tell great stories, I feel, because not only is he telling originally done stories, he's also tying back into the mythos, he's also tying back to the cartoon series at certain points and things like that. And it's so fun. It's other than when DC puts out He-Man stuff, which I think Injustice versus Masters of the Universe is coming at some point. Unless they're doing that, I want to get into the other Rebirth series. Like, I started reading the Nightwing Rebirth done by Tim Seeley at first. I know Tim Seeley is not on the book right now for Nightwing Rebirth, but in the beginning he was. So I started reading that, and I want to read the Batgirl one, and I eventually want to read Tom King's Batman. I just don't have enough time to, and I have all these other things I'm doing, and yeah, Batman Beyond is pretty much my go-to when it comes to DC at this point.
Yeah, my go-to with DC right now is the Detective Comics. So we're both on that Batman train, just different eras, obviously.
Yes, you're stuck in the past, and I'm stuck decades from now.
Great Scott! Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I love the Tim Drake stuff, but it's that little fat, meaningless fanboy gripe in the back end. This isn't my Batman, sort of thing. It's just Terry's my Batman Beyond, and Tim Drake did a great job. I'm just saying I enjoy it more when it's Bruce and Terry, not Bruce and Tim.
Right. But here's my gripe about it is, yes, you're right. It's not, it's not, the one true Batman Beyond. However, I know it kind of happened in Teen Titans, but I always wanted New 52, Tim Drake Robin, to have his own series outside of Teen Titans. Just him by himself, some sort of murder mystery series or something. And putting him in the future and putting him in the Beyond suit absolutely did that for me. I absolutely love that. So, with Terry now being alive, we've gone through...
We've gone through the apocalypse.
Well, there's that. What was that first arc? Not Cradle to the Grave. That was a DMX and Jet Li movie. I don't know. We went through the first arc, we went through the second arc, and now we're here with this, the Long Payback. When you first heard the title of the arc, did you think that Payback was actually going to be back?
No, that honestly didn't cross my mind. Like, I heard the Long Payback, and I was thinking, okay, is this going to be like Batman take on like an Elmore Leonard thing, like a little Jackie Brown, a little Out of Sight, something like that? Because that's what the title said to me with all the movies and the TV shows that I've seen over the years, is the Long Payback. Okay, somebody's coming for revenge, but the actual villain Payback, it did not, like, it did not click in my head that was going to be the central villain.
Yeah, it kind of is, and it kind of isn't. I mean, you have somebody pulling the strings and everything else. So we open issue 14 with the Royal Flush Gang. And we have this hologram-looking thing who, at first I thought it was the Joker, because the Joker is back.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Well, it's the mysterious malefactor, to borrow a name from one of my favorite YouTube series. And I love that, they don't have the Queen, they don't have 10. It's just King, Jack, and Ace. And also the Phil Hester art.
Yeah, Phil's back on art. We haven't seen his art since Mark of the Phantasm, when Kyle Higgins was doing his run. Yeah,
and I mean, granted, you look back at it when I first became aware of his stuff in the 90s, and he's always had this very, like, animated style. Like, it's just his art, could easily translate to, like, a direct-to-DVD animated film or something. So, but yeah, no, the mysterious malefactor says, get the job done or I'll take the money back. And, King's like, we got to do something big, something momentous. And we go back to Wayne Manor. And I love how after the robot apocalypse, because the technology of the Teddy Ruxpin should have been guarded more closely. They've got the flying, like the hover cars back. So, we got the hover ambulance, and Matt and Terry brought Bruce home, and he's like, you got to stay in the chair. It's like, my cane. He's like, fine, I'll stay in the goddamn chair. So
because he pretty much falls back into the chair.
Yeah. So now he's less Batman and more Professor X.
What I love here is his line, and I can so hear Kevin saying this. If you think I'm going to let a horde of nurses and caregivers into this house, dun dun dun. About that. We know you wouldn't go for that, so that. We moved in, Mr. Wayne.
And then it's like, I'm sorry, Batman smiles? Batman's not supposed to smile. Because Bruce is just kind of like, okay, it'd be nice to have kids around the house.
Yeah. And the thing about this is, like, if you remember watching the series, which I remember the series like the back of my hand, Matt was too young at the time in the series. Obviously, he's getting older at this point. He's more impressionable at this point. And for some odd reason, he takes to the Damian Wayne Robin. Ugh, God.
Well, that's really the one suit that's closest to his size.
Yeah.
I do like the Professor X, comparison is apropos because Bruce has a hover chair. That's how they get him down the stairs. And I like the fact that when you look the page before, how Hester and a lot of artists, I don't know if it's intentional or not, they tend to draw Batman Beyond Bruce as looking kind of like Chuck Heston.
Yeah.
And I can see him, especially like where he's like, "No, you're right, Terry. My home is your home," and he's still got that smile on his face. It's like I could totally see Chuck Heston playing this Bruce.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
I love how they still have that carousel of Batmobiles, because you go and see Matt's playing around with the 66 Batmobiles just sitting there. And in my brain, I had like a Captain America and Avengers. I get that reference.
Exactly. Well, because you have to. I mean, they don't actually show it in the book, folks, if you've read this issue, everybody, but they do show him, like you said, walking around the 66 Batmobile. But it's the Batcave. If you don't have a carousel of all of the Batmobiles, or at least most of the most famous ones that have happened in the last almost next year is 80 years of Batman. Oh my God, my head hurts.
Oh, the insurance premiums.
Ooh. Technical difficulties. Let's move on, shall we?
But I love how in this series, like all the artists, they've made an effort. You have 4 main things that you need in the, well, 5. You need the bat-eared bat computer in the background with the giant, flat screen. You need the Penny, the Joker playing card, Rexy, and Carousel Batmobiles. I don't care how the rest of the Batcave is laid out. If you have those 5 things, I'm sold. But, they get back to it. Bruce and Terry are talking about,
the new suit.
What do you need, Terry? It's like, I need to be Batman. I might have been Christian. That's who I am. Like, Terry's totally accepted his destiny as the Caped Crusader of the future at this point. And then, Bruce shows him the new suit. And he's like, I went back to the original, gave it a couple of tweaks, and the AI, and it's, like, gone. So, I mean, later on in this series, and I'll mention it when it comes up later, but, like, the Alfred AI that they had previously, I thought they had reconstituted that in the last arc, but maybe I misunderstood what they were writing. But, so basically, Terry's gone back to basics. And so as far as, how the suit's tech works, it's all him at the wheel. He can't just, put it on cruise control.
Yeah, the Batsuit is not a lawgiver, everybody. So we cut to the Royal Flush Gang, and they realize that they have to do something bigger than just normal heists to get Batman's attention. And they have an idea to attack the Neo Gotham Renewal Revival Festival thing. And then we see Dana, and she's doing some workouts with her coach and all of that. And
future buns of steel.
Yeah. And Terry shows up, and they have a moment. And
then it's brown chicken, brown cow.
Yeah, pretty much. We go back
Look,
to
he's a grown man, folks. He has needs. Dana's a grown woman. She has needs.
Yeah.
Let the two be happy together.
The one thing I do and don't like about that scene has nothing to do with the implication of what they're going to do, but it's more so, he's like, she's hoping that he's going to give the Batman thing up. He's like, no, I've embraced it. That's who I'm supposed to be. Oh, I was hoping, oh God, shut up, Dana. We go back to the Batcave, and Matt is just, enthralled with all of this, and Commissioner Gordon calls.
Yes, she certainly does. And, sorry, just brain fart there for a second. I do like in the background how there's little Easter eggs that they tie this, into the modern-day Bat continuity, where you see Duke's Signal costume in between the Red Robin and the classic Red Robin costume, which is, that's the design that came from Alex Ross's Kingdom Come on the left.
Right.
And then there's the modern updated Robin costume that Tim Drake is currently wearing in Detective.
Yeah.
But it's like Matt is quizzing Bruce about, it was good for the Robins to do what they did and all that, and
but you grow out of it. It's not. No one stays Robin forever. And,
and then
Robin
Barbara
Forever,
calls.
the next movie title.
Oh God! Just full body shudder. Just
And
Bruce calls, or sorry, Barbara calls Bruce, and the first thing she does is, kind of bitch him out a little bit for, not telling her he was leaving the hospital. And she's like, there's rumors of a new masked vigilante. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you? And Bruce is just poker face. I have no idea what you speak of. And then she tells him about this new, more intense radical Joker gang. And while they're talking shop, and Bruce is like, hey, I don't suppose you could let me into the police database again, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? And while they're, flirting with each other like that, and it's cute the way they do that, Matt goes off into, this, forgotten corner of the Batcave and cues up training videos of Bruce and Damian.
Yeah.
And he starts training, essentially, like he wants to be Robin.
Yep. And the suit is now complete. They have to figure out a way to get it to Terry. I
love the new bat signal.
What new... Oh, yeah, that... yeah.
Like how they take control on the outside of the Neo Gotham buildings, and instead of, because, there's not clouds all the time.
Yeah, that's true. So, provided we can get the suit to your brother, we cut back to Terry and Dana. Dana's sitting in the bed, half naked. Terry's in the shower. She screams. He's like, uh-oh. And then there's a giant bat...
It's a hoverbat.
Drone. Yeah, I was going to say drone, but, you could have called. Mm-hmm.
Times of the essence. You still could have called.
Uh-huh.
You could see the grit teeth, and Terry's like, asshole.
Yeah. Now, when I first saw this panel here where Bruce's drone is flying off and he says, Batman is needed, and Dana's like, this must be the chaos you were talking about. Is it just me, or does the Bat Beyond suit look like a symbiote here?
Yeah, just the way it's
just the way he's holding it, and the way it's damn.
I know it's laid with circuitry and all that, but yeah, it just looks like so much spandex. And I also kind of the way she says this must be the chaos you're talking about. The symbiote's kind of clinging back against Terry's like, oh dude, you fucked up.
Yep.
Yeah, he's like, dude, party foul. And, they go to this renewal festival building, and Batman shows up and starts kicking all the ass.
Pretty much, yeah.
I love that you see them, they're in there, they're blowing up stuff in this museum, and there's a statue there that I would swear that's the same statue from this horror movie, The Wishmaster, I saw years ago. It's Mesopotamian art, I know that much, but I love that full page shot of Terry just power diving through them, and he's like, you were saying, and they all get scattered like bowling pins.
Yep.
But then, while he's kicking that ass, he also starts getting his own ass kicked and renewed.
Oh, yeah, because he makes a mistake, and Bruce is like, whatever you do, don't let Ace get his hands on you. Well, that's a little late there. A bonus might be in order. Break him, Ace. And then we have a classic shot of that's how it ends, basically.
Well, Ace is activate Bane subroutine. Because I like that, and they make mention of the new Jack is or the new Ace. No, new Jack. New Jack is more savage. And I like the fact that he's got that laser eye, which may or may not be a callback to the Royal Flush Gang that showed up in Justice League Doom. Because the Jack there had this laser eye that the League was having trouble getting past until Flash vibrated through the wall and knocked his ass cold. But yeah, we end this first issue with, Ace doing the Nightfall. It's like, I know how to relax your back. It's called the Nightfall subroutine.
Mm-hmm. And that's how issue 14 ends. Wow.
Yeah, I did not see that. It's a hell of a thing for them to do that, because I'm just kind of like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Walk it off, Terry. Walk it off.
Yeah. We get into issue 15. I love the covers for this because you've got the return of the Royal Flush Gang with Batman kind of buried under the cards, and the cards basically standing tall. Queen or 10, Queen, Jack, Ace, King. And then the secondary cover is the RFG cards, which are basically toppling on top of him. I love that. I thought that was so cool.
And just that, like, absolute maniacal look on King's face. He's just like, hey, I'll get you this time, Batman.
So as we open, very much Skeletor. As we open this one, Bruce is seeing, remembering when Bane broke his back and all of that. And Terry's like, thought that, come on, Ace. You really thought the break the back over the knee routine would work against the suit that can withstand gunfire?
And there's Matt. He's just like, yeah!
Shui!
I don't know. I know he says it's Shui time, but I think if you've ever seen the show Gravity Falls, there's this little scrawny little guy who's like, get him! Get him! That's what Matt reminded me of in that moment. But yeah,
I don't ever want Batman characters to ever be assimilated with or associated with Gravity Falls.
Oh, that is such a good show. But yeah, so Terry starts putting foot to ass again.
Basically cuts Ace in half.
Well, yeah, because I love that early. He sends like an electric batarang through him and like shreds him. You can see like the robo ribs and the motor oil and everything, and it's just like it's pretty gruesome. I mean, I know he's a robot cyborg thing, but androids have feelings.
Just ask Data. So King, that basically puts King into a spiral because Ace was the last remaining member at this point of the original Royal Flush Gang. They had to rebuild him. They had to do this. They had to do that. And this is where the story kind of shifts after this battle is kind of over. Ace is down, Jack is down, and King is down. We go to this really cool shot of Batman flying through the night sky, and it's all purple clouds and almost looking like a bat signal, but it's him, and there's the Stalker. Oh boy, the Stalker is back. Yeah,
although I do like where Terry's finishing him off. Mm-hmm. How I just love that image where Jack is about, I can torch you just by looking at you, and Terry, boosts himself up, and you just see that scene of, it's like in a cartoon when somebody lands on the one end of the 2x4 and the other character's on the other, and he just gets catapulted like that. Yeah. Just that imagery, and it's like, I love the King. The knave cannot focus on two foes simultaneously. Thou hast hurled the gauntlet of challenge, or would that be half? and he takes him out with a double bolo, and he takes off. And I do like that image of Terry's silhouette against the moon. Like to me, that's reminiscent of that scene in Batman '89 when Batman flies it up like vertical like that and goes into free fall because he's going to take the Joker out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the mysterious malefactors, I knew they wouldn't succeed, though I did think they would do a little bit better.
Yep.
And then he's like, 2 months of food will be delivered to Stalker's village just as soon as he brings Batman to this guy. Mm-hmm. And then and I forgot about how he got shredded in some of the previous series. So we see he's got like the cool robo legs and the hand, like he's more machine than man now.
Yes.
And we go back, we see Matt's training, and he's kind of doing, like, when I saw this, do you remember a movie called Bulletproof Monk from like the early aughts?
Sadly, yes.
Again, not the greatest movie in the world, folks, but I find it highly entertaining.
He's Canadian, people. He likes bad movies. Get over it.
There are so many ways to respond. I choose not to save time. Anyway, in the film, one of the main characters, this young guy named Carr, it's Stifler from American Pie. He trains himself in Kung Fu by watching old school Golden Harvest and Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movies in this theater, and he basically shadow boxes, which is what Matt's doing here. Is he's basically copying the moves while watching these holographic training vids that, Batman has saved. Meanwhile, another mysterious malefactor has broken into Wayne Manor and steals a picture of Terry.
Mm-hmm. It's 10.
We don't know that yet.
It has to be.
Yeah. And then
who else has those curves in this universe? Come on now.
Fine, it's 10. I wanted to have a little mystery. But I do like how Terry comes back in the window, and this is a scene that my first thought went to Spider-Man for all the times Peter crawled in the window and started snuggling up with Mary Jane. Mm-hmm. But this is also like a classic Batman trip of him coming in and, snuggling with Vicky Vale. I mean, Julie Madison. I mean, Silver St. Cloud. I mean...
Barbara Gordon.
I mean, Esther Fairchild. Yeah, the Batman is... as much as they've compared Daredevil and Nightwing as being himbos, Batman's not a slouch in that department either.
Nope.
He just prefers quality over quantity.
Yep.
But we got, Terry canoodling with Dana, and Stalker's keeping an eye on him. And
next thing you know, boom!
And not the good kind of fireworks.
Nope.
And there's Terry's on fire, Dana's kind of scratched up, and this Electro Whip tentacle comes in and grabs Dana, and Stalker's decided to bite part of the Royal Flush Gang style because he's got one of their flying playing cards, and we go back to the Batcave, and Bruce is like, the burglar took a photo of your brother. I'm pretty sure it was a woman too. Think she knows he's Batman?
Mm-hmm.
And then, although you can see he says unlikely, but I have no clue. It's like, oh, you know damn well who it was, Bruce.
Oh, of course.
Your mind is a rusty steel trap, but it's still a steel trap.
Exactly. So they're trying to figure out why Stalker would do this, and then Bruce is like, well, his village got savaged, and this, that, and the other thing, so he's probably doing it for food. And all of that. And we get back to the action here with Terry trying to save Dana, and Stalker.
Well, he does, he's not trying too hard to keep Dana away, so Terry fires off a batarang, which is one of my, if not my favorite upgrade to the bat suit besides the wings in Batman Beyond, is him doing the shuriken bat launcher from the back of his wrist, which also may or may not be a callback to those giant mecha gauntlets that Azrael wore in the 90s when he took over for Batman for a while.
And see here, I'm just assuming it's a web shooter, but a bat version.
Well, I mean, that's where the webs shot off when he had the black suit.
Yeah.
Because he had those white patches on the back of his wrist. Yeah. But yeah, so he's like, are you trying to save her or kill her? And he's like that's there's any doubt, although I would have said, that's any kind of a question. And he's like, you care about her, thus defining your weakness. Mm-hmm. And I do like the whole battle staff thing that he's got going on.
Yep.
And we cut back to Bruce's Stalker's dedicate himself to one goal, proving there's nothing alive that he can't hunt or kill. And he's toying with Terry, and he does the classic holes in a parachute thing with the wings, and
yep.
I expected more, Batman. You've shown me nothing.
Next, Dead Man Flying. Okay, so what did you think of this issue overall? Because this is basically a transition from so 14, 15, and 16, the first three issues of the Long Payback arc, essentially are 14 and 16 are bookends, and this 15 is kind of this middle ground where you have part of the story that was from last issue running into this, and then it switches because you have all of Stalker in next issue almost up till the end in 16. So what did you think of that kind of being a middle ground here?
It's a nice solid middle ground part of the story. It's not so epic on the level of, say, Empire, because when you think of interquels like that. Like Empire is one of the best middle parts of a trilogy that ever have been in movies, in my opinion. And this issue 15, was a very good. It's a nice solid. It transitions from, like you said, from one story into the next, leaves it on this great cliffhanger ending. Because if you're like me and getting, one issue at a time, it's also, to me, in my mind, it's kind of a callback to like the Batman serials from like the 1940s, where every chapter ended on a cliffhanger.
Right.
This is how you should end a story. The stakes have been raised, shit's getting crazy, and oh crap, they're falling out of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
So I do love you move on to issue 16, Long Payback, part 3. The first cover, I love, enter Stalker, they're falling off a building, and I love how they gave Stalker his own logo.
Yeah.
A stylized logo like that, and I think that's a really cool.
I actually like the second cover more, and the second cover is actually what the podcast art is the metallic suit looking, the ripped suit, the metallic looking cover with the black background, and it almost, even though he's not, it almost looks like he's on a Royal Flush Gang playing card.
He's in the triangular silhouette. And also, when I saw this cover, the first image that flashed in my head is from that. I forget the exact issue, but it's the end of one issue of Uncanny X-Men during the start of the Dark Phoenix arc. Like Phoenix has been, or Jean has been taken in by the Hellfire Club, and Wolverine's been knocked into the sewers by the one Hellfire King or Bishop that can control gravity. He's like, all right, you took your best shot. Now it's my turn. That's kind of the what I got looking at this cover. Mm-hmm. Like Terry turns around, okay, my turn.
Yep.
So we get into it, and Stalker is falling out of the sky on his card, and we get basically a rundown of it's kind of like a who's who kind of description in the speech bubbles. Like his name is Shaka Okoro. These days he calls himself Stalker, and it talks about he was this big game hunter, and then he had surgery. He's got all the cybernetics, and he's firing his power spear at Terry and Dana, who I think in between issues the wings got even more ragged.
Oh yeah, they did. Like the only time they look okay is when, right as Terry's about to drop her, why'd he turn on me? Like right there, and then right afterwards, it looks like they're digitally healing themselves at this point. But yeah,
which is what they're doing. It's just, that must be one of the new tweaks Bruce added. He's like, self-regenerating armor.
Yeah, there you go. And Terry goes on to say, I've been playing defense. It's time for a little offense now.
He's like, eat grenades, asshole.
Yep.
You're more aggressive, McGinnis. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, suit enhancements are working. I do like the look on Dana's face in that first, this spread where you see the Long Payback part 3, and then as she's falling, she, in the back of her head, she's like, I should have dated Nelson. I should have dated Nelson. I should have dated Nelson.
Oh no, she'd be better off dating Willie Watt than Nelson.
Or what's his name that got the robo girlfriend in that?
That would be Howard something.
Yeah.
Oh look, it's Howard Wolowitz, except he's younger and fatter. Hey, at least she didn't go back to the Rat Boy.
Yeah, and for the longest time I was trying to figure what analogy that he was supposed to be for what modern day Bat villain. I mean, obviously it's the Rat Catcher, but it took me forever to figure that out. But yeah, Terry lays into him, and Stalker commandeers this lady in her flying minivan cargo ship, and he's basically he does the villainous mistake of laying out why he's doing this.
Yeah, which so this is my one complaint. This is the only time I will ever complain about anything Dan Jurgens is doing with this series. Bruce has said why Stalker is probably doing this. Stalker has said to the benefactor dude why he wants to do this kind of a thing. And now we get this whole reiteration that, yes, we get it. His family, his village was just, his family is hungry. His village was destroyed. He wants food. We understand that. Do you have to beat us over the head with it, please?
Well, so we get the feel-good ending that's coming, but, we'll get to that next episode. But yeah, so, he's saying all this, and then he shoots off, like, the booster rockets on this thing and starts cooking Terry in the suit because he's being dangled right over the exhaust.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to Neo Gotham PD and Commissioner Barbara Gordon. We see these two guys strung up from a street light, like Batman style. And it's the work of this new vigilante, and they've got a shot of this blurry photo of this new vigilante who is totally not 10.
It's 10.
I know, I was being sarcastic. And he's like, so is she? And why is she trying to do our jobs for us? I don't know. Why didn't you use the same answer you used about Batman for years, Barb? Seems about right.
Yeah. See, like, I understand why 10 would break into Wayne Manor, take a picture of Terry, that kind of a thing. But I wish they would have had this as, and maybe it's all going to tie in, I assume. I don't remember, because I've read all these issues already, but I've also forgotten half of 17, 18, and 19 until I go back and read them again to record them for next episode. But if they would have had this as maybe like, hey, this is Nyssa, this is the Batgirl of Neo Gotham doing stuff or something, that would have made a little bit more sense instead of having to throw in this new vigilante thing. I get it. Again, like I said, it's 10 or whatever it's supposed to be, but it's a little weird.
I mean, it's explained later on, but yeah, so the cops are like, maybe she's a new partner with the Bat, and Barb's like, I asked, he denied it, and then they see Stalker light off the boosters on that transport, and he's recklessly speeding, or he's trying to kill someone, and Terry meanwhile is in the exhaust, and he's like, yeah, no shit, Barb, because he's getting cooked, and Matt's freaking out, and Bruce is like, calm your tits, Terry got this, have faith,
because we finally have new cloaking tech. I love that they finally brought that back.
Yeah. But, Terry hauls himself up by the rope that's wrapped around his ankles, and he takes out the engines, and he's just like, oh, I'm going to need like 10 Tylenol and an ice bath after this.
Yep.
But, they crash the ship. Stalker is like, Batman! Well, he's McGinnis, but it's like, Batman! I'll get you!
Yeah,
and then Matt's
not
like,
Bane. Stop doing that.
Yeah. And then Matt's like, he lived through that?
Yeah.
And I do like that we get like the news probe drone flies in, and they're like, reporting live from St. Cloud Center, and Stalker's like, get that camera out of my face, basically, and anything you'd like to say to our viewers. And he just doesn't. I do like that. And the cops are like, no way the Bat survived that, and Commissioner's like, 50 says he does.
Yep.
And then I love that. Yeah, the new cloaking tech, and his suit's already kind of healing itself up. And I do love that where Terry comes up with surprise. It's like ooga booga.
Yep. Yeah, it's just a fun issue.
Yeah, I do like that where you see that where new cloaking tech, and he's like Shui, and then Barb's like cash or pay, bud. Yep. And the officer's just like, fuck. He's like Mother Hubbard.
Yep.
And then 10's watching. I mean, it's not 10. We don't know that for sure yet.
It has to be. Who else would it be?
I'm just having fun with that movie.
I know, but I'm legitimately asking, who else would it be that would steal a picture of Terry, that would be doing quote unquote crime fighting? It's not Nyssa. It's not the Batgirl of Batman Beyond. It's not Dana, because Dana doesn't want him to have anything to do with this shit anymore. So it wouldn't be her.
It's an unknown female clone created by Amanda Waller.
Or Carl Rossum.
That too. But yeah, we see, Terry and Stalker get back into it. And I didn't catch, like, earlier when they gave his name. So when he says it's over, Shaka admitted, I thought it's like, are you making like a racist comment right now, Batman? You know, like Shaka Zulu or something like that, because I didn't catch him getting named. I didn't catch the bubble naming Stalker earlier.
And the only thing I can think of is Mark Hamill talking to Chris Rock in Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing I thought of.
Man, it's been a while since I've seen that.
Yeah.
But I like that they get into a pretty back and forth pitched battle, and you like that a smart hunter knows better than to focus on what's in front of him. He watches his back as well, and he's activated his electro whip thing and starts cooking Terry. And that looks
basically
looks like a particularly brutal, like, electrical attack, because like there's so much electrical interference that you just kind of see like the silhouette, and it looks like he's being burnt like a piece of bacon.
Yeah, he's being burnt alive on that. And then you get the really... Like, I wish this was a comic cover for this series. The end panel is 10, Barbara with the police officer, Bruce, and I assume Matt. And then in the center of it, you've got Stalker and Batman, where he's basically choking the life out of him, and you get, all these things. And next, Revelations.
Yeah, no, you're totally right that, like, this should be a cover and have the speech bubbles on there. If there's one trope I miss from comic books, is how they used to have, like, speech bubbles. If I don't stop the bomb now, Aunt May will die. Like, that sort of thing from comics in the past. I really miss that, or some sort of little bit of exposition on the cover. So I mean, yeah, this would totally be a great cover.
Yeah, it would.
And then I know I got like the print copy of this, and right after this they get you get a 4 or 5 page preview of the new Terrifics comic that's come out from DC, which if you haven't read that, folks, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I have not read that yet. I will eventually, though.
But yeah, it's overall these first 3 issues, it's a solid 5 for me. Like, it's full of, like, Batman action, Batman drama, and Batman stuff getting blown the hell up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely love these first 3 issues of the Long Payback arc. There's plenty of great writing in here. The art, Phil Hester's art, along with the inker and the colorist, is done so well. It's just so friggin' fun. It really, really is. And like you said, it basically does what it's supposed to do. It leaves you wondering. It leaves you on the edge of your seat, like, ooh, I need to read the next issue right now. But we'll have to do that next week, folks. What would you give, or are we just going to eventually rate this as all one arc, or you want to do it in the 2 parts?
I think we do it in the 2 parts, but I mean, like you said, so far it's a solid 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah,
there's... Like Jurgen's writing, Dan Hester's, or Phil Hester's art.
Yeah.
Dan Hester.
Yeah. I don't think that's probably, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, yeah, it's a 5 out of 5 for me too. There's nothing really here that distracts. There's nothing really here that I don't want to see. It's actually almost everything I did want to see. I'm not too thrilled with Stalker because I never really cared for the character all that much, even in the cartoon series. But I understand, and I'm grateful that they're actually using him as one of the characters. So who knows who else is going to show up? I mean, we got the Royal Flush Gang, we got the mysterious,
Malefactor
League. Yeah, there's that. We get the mysterious League of Assassins or League of Shadows chick. You've got Barbara, and I mean, Barbara's whole thing. We kind of talked. You said it earlier about her basically laying into Bruce about continuing to use kids and yada yada yada. So that was a nice little thing for all of us to see that nothing really has changed. Bruce Wayne is still going to be who he's always been, and
what can you do?
Exactly. So yep, 5 out of 5 for me as well. Where can the people find you online, sir?
You can find me. I'm one of the co-hosts on the Comic Connoisseurs podcast. and we record that, every so often, although life often gets in the way. And you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JT from Saskatoon.
Absolutely. I am at TFG1Mike on Twitter. You'll be able to find us at The Pullbag on Twitter and also over on Facebook, geekcastradio.com, as well as all of our other episodes. Tune in next week for The Long Payback Part 2. Make your great escape into comics.
Surprised to see me? A little. I'm more surprised that I lived so long.
Batman, Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne, Batman. Or have you met?
Not now.
Great. What did they used to call it? Stereo?
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pullbag, the GCRN's first comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate and leave a review for the show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Become a fan of us on Facebook, facebook.com/thepullbag. Send us an email, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at thepullbag and at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.